Welcome to Season 13's Xcfl Live Rookie Draft Show.
Welcome to the Season 13 Xcfl Draft. I'm your host, Nick Larson, and with me is my co-host, Justin Holland. Justin, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm excited to start drafting. How about you?
Absolutely, sir. Can't wait. Boone, you're with us as well. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How y'all doing?
Not too bad at all. All right, boys, it is draft day. It is finally here. The draft is underway. The New Orleans Saints are on the clock. They hold the number 1 and number 2 overall pick. Let's go ahead and break down their needs here. Justin, what do you expect the Saints to kind of go with here with the number 1 overall pick?
So the Saints, obviously they've had a couple key additions, but they lost Deshaun Watson. I think that obviously the need that you have to fill early on in the draft is at quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. With Watson gone, you can see him definitely going with a quarterback here. Do you see a quarterback that is worthy of the number 1 overall pick?
I see a couple. I think, obviously Rashad Hollings has the right rating as far as the talent says that he's early first-round pick. But I actually think Austin Joe is somebody that people shouldn't sleep on either because he's got, I believe it was throw power, which is going to put him in the mid-90s. I mean, that's getting it done. So I think that really either one he would be good with, but, I think he's probably looking at Rashad Hollings.
Yeah, Rashad Hollings out of Michigan State, obviously. Austin Joe out of Alabama. I know both of these guys are talented. There's a lot of quarterbacks that did receive that first-round draft rating. It's going to be interesting to see what he goes with. I know the War Room was tweeting out that they were thinking defensively with one of these picks at least. Do you think they addressed the defensive side of football at all with either of these? I know their team needs their linebacker and cornerback around there as well.
Yeah, if I'm him, I'm going probably QB for the first overall pick, or you could go either QB corner or corner QB. I don't really think it matters at this point.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and then if we're talking number 1 corner, he could be the best player in the entire draft. It's Joseph Rowe. I think I'm hearing that the pick is in. We'll wait and see. They're walking it up to the commissioner. Will be in the podium in a few seconds here. But like I was saying, Joseph Rowe is that number 1 corner, lockdown, build your franchise around that you really can't. You need a guy like that on every single football team.
Absolutely.
As we wait the final seconds. But it is a huge advantage here having obviously the top 2 picks. He can kind of address both his needs. All right, so the pick is in, and it is going to be the left outside linebacker, Cooper REULAND out of Alabama, 22 years old, 6 feet tall, 258 pounds. This guy's an absolute stud. Justin, what's your take on this outside linebacker pick here?
So I love his sort of intangibles. Obviously, if you look at his tackle, hit, power, block, shed, he's obviously a stud when it comes to that. He's going to be very highly rated. What concerns me is as the number 1 pick in the draft, a 4.74 40. That's not even in the top 20 of other linebackers or left outside linebackers for that matter. So he's kind of slow, to be very honest with you. So I'll be interested to see, how his overall rating pans out with that lack of speed.
Yeah, he does have the 3-cone and the 20-yard shuttle. He ran quick. So the acceleration, the agility will be there. Boone, are you with us here, man? What do you think about this pick?
I think it's an outstanding pick. He was a stud in the senior game. He's going to be nothing but an absolute star on the field. He can do just about anything you ask of him. He can control the defense as an outside linebacker. That's something you don't normally see from an outside linebacker, but he was such a leader over at Alabama behind Nick Saban. An Alabama defensive player, you don't get much better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. Nick Saban, Alabama defense. You know what you're getting here with Cooper REULAND. This is a deep linebacker class, so that is going to be a good one. We'll see. I think the Saints' second pick is in actually here too. So with Cooper REULAND, they address the defensive side of the football with a linebacker. We'll see if they take that quarterback that we've been talking about. I'll be interested to see what they do go with here. The pick is in, and it is going to be the cornerback, Joseph Rowe. This guy is an absolute monster. He is out of Auburn University, and he's just a stud, man. He's 22 years old, 6'2", 200 pounds. You see the coverages. Justin, what's your take on this cornerback, Joseph Rowe?
So I love the corner, obviously. He's absolutely a beast, just like you had mentioned. The one concern that I have is that he did not fill a need at the quarterback position. So going into the future, I would like to see, obviously what his plan is 4 to 5 years from now with no first round draft pick as a quarterback.
Yeah, Boone, what's your take on Joseph Rowe here, sir?
I think he's an outstanding talent, a top flight corner, really the only premier corner in this draft. But again, like he said, you have to wonder what's going on over there. You trade away Deshaun Watson, former MVP. You have no quarterback to speak of. I'm curious who they plan to take the helm there. There's some talent in this draft at quarterback, no doubt. But to not take one as your top priority, your top 2 picks, that's a little baffling.
Yeah, Joseph Rowe, he's an absolute stud, like we talked about. The Bucs are bringing their pick up to the commissioner as well here. But just like you said, this cornerback class is very weak, and Joseph Rowe is that one guy standalone right at the top of the board. But it is going to be an interesting year with the Saints having to kind of fit quarterback. If they make a trade, I don't know what they do here, but no Deshaun Watson, and we'll kind of see what we do here for the New Orleans Saints. But the Bucs are on the clock. The Bucs' main needs here, I think the Bucs they did add Julio Jones, so that does add a solid receiver to their core. They lost Drew Brees, lost a couple linebackers, but the team needs are going to be defensive line, cornerback, and middle linebacker. Justin, any thoughts on the Buccaneers here?
Yeah, so obviously team needs are on the defensive side of the ball, and this is directly from the Bucs coach AirV. So I know that, I would be surprised if, and knowing him, he loves to get after the passer. I'd be really surprised if he didn't go D-line or linebacker to start.
All right. Well, I think the pick is in. All right. The pick is not in. We're going to go ahead. Are the team needs up on here? All right. The pick is in for the Bucs, and they are going to go with Curtis Roberts, the running back out of Florida. Curtis Roberts is the number 1 running back in the draft. He was the Heisman Trophy winner this past season. This is a great pick for the Buccaneers. He ran a 4.4 40-yard dash. That's blazing for a running back. Justin, break down Curtis Roberts for us, the 23-year-old out of Florida.
Yeah, so normally I'm not high on taking running backs this high. I think that you could have probably traded back, and I still think that's true. But this guy's obviously going to be an anchor in that Tampa Bay offense. He's going to be superstar development. It's 100% guaranteed with that Heisman. And obviously, all the stats are there. All the attributes are there. So this guy, like I said, I think I probably maybe would have tried to drop back a little bit and maybe offer that pick up. But I still like the pick.
Boone, what's your take on Curtis Roberts, the running back out of Florida?
Roberts is a stud, man. He can just do it all. He's got some power. He's got some speed. He's the prototypical, top tier running back. What we look for in all of our running backs, to have the size and the speed combined. And he's going to an offense that has a rookie quarterback that needs a little bit of help. Second year now, quarterback and Corey Prentice out of that QB class from last year. And you're definitely looking for some sort of stability on a team that had the 29th ranked rushing offense. I think they had an idea of what they needed. They knew what they needed. They kind of went after it. And they definitely pounced on a great one with this guy. He's a great talent. I'm predicting about 1,100 yards, and I'll give him 8 touchdowns for his rookie year.
Yeah, a great pick for the Buccaneers. So let's go ahead and pull up the Detroit Lions here. They have the 4th pick. We'll go over the Lions' team needs. No big offseason acquisitions for the Detroit Lions. They did lose. They traded away Budda Baker and Jamal Agnew, the 2 defensive backs, and then they let Desmond King, the cornerback, walk to free agency. Main team needs, they went with offensive line, free safety, and cornerback. So they're kind of trying to fill up that secondary. Justin, what the heck do you see the Detroit Lions doing here at number 4 in the draft?
Well, typically what we've seen the Lions do in the past is just take best available. I do think that their needs here, especially in the defensive backfield, I know you have Josh Jones back there, but losing Desmond King, losing Budda Baker, those are going to be hard people to replace. Even though, overall rating, they're probably not as high as some of the other guys that we've seen in free agency, but that's a young secondary that, it's not getting, or it continues to get younger, I should say. So I think that they need to go after some sort of defensive back, whether it be a corner or a safety.
Boone, what do you think the Lions are going to go with here?
I think overall the Lions have a solid team. I mean, their offensive line needs a little bit of help, but you have serviceable players who can get you through the season. You're definitely looking at a really weak outside linebacker, though. Like that's what we have. We have no outside linebackers besides Solomon Cone. So you're definitely looking for them to beef that up, because you don't want to get run over in that division. That's a very tough division. The AFC or the NFC North has always been a tough division. They play in the cold weather. You need some of those big guys in the middle to try and stop some of these underneath routes and everything that you like to see in this league nowadays, and to definitely get after the running backs when they try and take those outside runs that have become very, very popular. So I definitely look for the Lions to try and look outside linebacker.
All right, well, the pick is in, and the Detroit Lions go with the wide receiver Dixon Bishop out of Clemson. 6'5", 225, 21 years old, busted out a 4.38 40-yard dash at the combine. At that size and that speed, Justin, did the Lions go with the best available player here?
I think, honestly, they did. I mean, look at his spec catch, his route running. His catching probably could use a little bit of work overall, but this guy's 6'5", 225. I mean, he is a monster. I like the pick. I'm surprised that they didn't go defense, but I know that they have a pick here in a few times or a few slots, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see them go corner or safety there.
Boone, what's your take on the wide receiver out of Clemson, Dixon Bishop?
Look, this kid's a star. He's a flat-out star. If this kid does not average 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns, something is wrong in Detroit, because this kid can do everything. He's tall, he's fast, he's strong. He can make all the highlight catches. He spent the entire season making these cornerbacks on him look like little kids. This guy is a star. I can't say enough about him. He's going to be the top receiver in this league by any stretch. He's just a perfect pick as far as, picking best available, because when it comes to measurables in a league that loves to pass, he's the best thing you could possibly get. And I mean, like, in a franchise that misses Calvin Johnson, well, in walks in Dixon Bishop.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Can we give this guy the Calvin Johnson comparison in Detroit here? With the 6'5", with the 40-yard dash. I think Calvin Johnson was 6'5", ran a 4.35, so a little bit faster. But this guy, it's as close as it gets. What a pick for the Detroit Lions. Their GM is a very smart man. Let's go ahead here and we'll move on to pick number 5, which we're going to have the Dallas Cowboys, which they acquired from the Packers last season. Let's go ahead and pull up the Packers team needs here. So the Packers in free agency went out and added Carson Wentz. They added Aqib Talib.
So it's actually the Cowboys pick,
right,
Nick.
You're right. We're not going to talk about the Green Bay Packers here. Thank you, guys. We'll go to Dallas Cowboys. They lost Dez Bryant. The main team need is a wide receiver. Do we see them go wide receiver here, Justin?
I think either wide receiver or defense. Obviously, they're set at quarterback. They're set at running back. They're more than set with that offensive line. So I would see them either going with a wide receiver, which is kind of a team need for them, obviously, or they could go defense as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The Cowboys, I mean, they've put together 2 massive seasons in a row, beating everybody handily, and then, Super Bowl champions. Boone, what do you think the Cowboys need to help them stay on top of the Xcfl?
I think even though they added Marquise Wilson, he's not going to be that guy. He's just not going to be. At this point in his career, we know that. So, I mean, if you're asking me, it'll probably be a receiver. I might be looking more so at Parker Haggins out of Ohio State. He's 6'2", 218. He can do it all. His hands are incredible. Probably the best hands in the entire draft. But with his age, and maybe he didn't run the fastest 40. You'd like to see a 4.3 up there. But, I mean, he's just an all-around receiver who's going to make the plays. So, I mean, I think that's the way you go.
Yeah, I'm a big Parker Haggins fan, and the Dallas Cowboys have gone with the right outside linebacker, Chris Schobel. This guy was probably out of Auburn. He's probably the number 1 ranked player on most people's boards. I talked to the Cowboys GM myself, and he said linebacker was their main need, and they went out and got a very good one in 22-year-old Chris Schobel out of Auburn, 6'3", 241. He had the second most bench presses for outside linebackers with 29 reps. Justin, good pick for the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, I think it's a really good pick. 6'3", 241, so he's going to be able to cover as well. I'd be interested to see his, what his block shed actually comes out at. It's a B+ rating, so obviously it's going to be high 80s right off the bat, which is great. So I think this is going to be good for him to be able to rush the quarterback and probably get somebody. he's kind of middle of the road speed wise, maybe even a little bit faster than average. So I think it's a great pick.
Boone, what's your take on Mr. Chris Schobel out of Auburn?
I think he's an outstanding player. He worked really hard throughout his entire career at Auburn in those tough SEC divisional games, and he's just a workhorse. He gets in that gym, and you talk to anybody on the staff, anybody on the training staff, anybody who's come in contact with him, his work ethic is amazing, and that's why he's in the position he's in today. He's worked hard for everything he's got. Even coming out of school, he didn't play football in high school until his junior year, and you see him at Auburn. So, I mean, when you get a player like that who's real blue-collar, real work hard ethic, I mean, you can't get better than that. He's going to be a star as long as you just give him the right opportunities. You can't miss on him.
Yeah, that's a great pick for the Dallas Cowboys. Like I said, what a luxury to win the Super Bowl and then be right back in the top 5 after acquiring a pick. But we'll go back here. Number 6 is back to the Detroit Lions. They got their wide receiver that they didn't really need, but they took. Justin, do you think the Lions?
Which is such a Lions thing to do, by the way.
Do you see them doing it again and going best player available at number 6 here?
No, I actually see them filling a need. I think that it's smart to go best player available with that first pick. Get the guy that's on the board that everybody might want. And now maybe it's time to take a look at, your depth chart. There's no more first round picks for the Lions as they usually have a third one. So it's going to be interesting, obviously, to see, with a big gap in their picks, how long they're going to, or how far they're going to reach to get their guy.
Yeah. Boone, what do you see the Lions going with here at number 6?
I mean, I said it before. I'm gonna say it again. I think they need to be on the defensive side of the ball. That's what takes you places. And I personally have learned the hard way. Defense is what you need. That's the way to go, man. Because I'm telling you right now, shootouts are hard to win consistently. It's really hard to score 30 points every week in, week out, nonstop. So you definitely got to try and look either secondary linebackers. I'm still partial to the outside linebacker for them. But at this point, who knows? We haven't seemed to be able to call one right yet. So
there are some good linebackers left on the board. I'm thinking the Lions pick is getting ready. They are walking up to the podium. The Detroit Lions go with the cornerback out of LSU, Thomas Fisher, the 21-year-old, 6'2", 207-pound stud, SEC corner here. Ran the fastest 40 for all the corners at a 4.35. So we got blazing speed to go along with some decent size at 6'2". This has got to be the next best corner in the draft after Joseph Rowe. Justin, what do you think?
So it is absolutely the best corner, but he did have that negative story on him. So I'm curious to see how bad that slow development hurts overall, or if he was even slow development. Sometimes they kind of fake you out, but it'll be like I said, an interesting road with him. I want to see what his overall ratings are, I think, before I really make the judgment call. But I think that it's a great pick after Joseph Rowe in a class that is not deep at corner.
Well, I'll be the first to tell you he did not have slow development. So this guy is an absolute stud. He's going to be a monster for the Detroit Lions. In a secondary with Kevin King and Spencer Frazier, all their corners are above 6'2". All of them are at least 90, 93 speed. This is going to be a dangerous secondary. Boone, what's your take on Thomas Fisher here real quick?
I think he's an outstanding cornerback. I mean, he's young. He's developable. I mean, you can't go wrong with that because young corners in this league are hard to get. They're hard to come by. With talent on them, I mean, no one wants to build a corner, but when you get a corner that comes ready and young, it's really easy to build them up. And at 6'2", 207, you shouldn't see many problems about guarding these fast wide receivers, especially when he's running a 4.35. So seems like a pretty easy decision to me.
Absolutely. So we'll move on here to pick number 7. We got the Indianapolis Colts on the clock. The Colts were very quiet this offseason. They kind of kept to themselves. They have all their picks. They added Jalen Myrick, a very fast corner for the Jacksonville Jaguars after losing, a vet like Vontae Davis, who kind of is past his prime. Main team needs outside linebacker, offensive line, and then they have quarterback on there. So it makes me think they could be looking for a predecessor for Andrew Luck here. Justin, any feelings on who the Colts are going to go with here or what position?
I think the Colts need to go defense. I don't think quarterback is a need. I think by going defense, you're going to shore up that. I mean, that's a tough league defensively with the Jags kind of leading the way, and then both just defensive studs. So I think it's something that they really need to focus on is trying to get better on the defensive side of the ball so that they can stop some of the high-powered offenses.
Texans too. Texans are pretty fierce down there.
Texans.
On offense.
that that whole division is tough. It's very competitive. Some great coaches. So it'll be interesting what the Colts go here. I know they're walking the pick up to the podium, so we'll have that in a minute here. But I would like to see, Sean, the Colts owner last year, really built that defense up for the Colts, and the pick is in, and they are going to go defense with outside linebacker out of Auburn, another Auburn player off the board. It's going to be Garrett Clancy, 22 years old, 6 feet tall, 251 pounds. And this guy, I think, is an absolute stud. You can see the bench press, 31 reps, first out of all outside linebackers, the cone drill, the shuttle, the broad jump. He's an athletic freak, and I think he's going to fit in really well with that Indianapolis Colts defense. Justin, let's throw it over to you, sir.
Yeah, I do as well. I think that he's really quick, 4.6, 4.40, and then obviously his agility and his acceleration and his strength, for that matter, are all absolutely he had a hell of a combine. And obviously B+ across the board. So this is going to be a really solid player for a long time.
Boone, what do you think about Sean's pick here coming down to your division, Mr. Garrett Clancy?
Look, I think Sean has done an outstanding job, despite what his record says, as far as turning that organization around. They come in, they're probably one of the hardest teams to build on Madden because they've got so much money out and so little talent on both sides of the ball besides receivers and quarterbacks. And I think they're starting to turn that corner, especially with the drafting of the kid Hopkins, who is an absolute monster. At this point, I think he's probably the best drafter in the league right now, considering he drafted probably the best rookie I've ever seen in Madden.
Absolutely.
So I don't think you can miss on Garrett Clancy. I think he's going to be a stud in that defense. They already have a lot of linebackers, so he'll have a lot to learn from. He'll probably have to earn his way on the field. Maybe starts over Mingo, but I think that they can't really go wrong on that side of the ball. They're going to have plenty of chances to pick me off. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll pick Boone off a few times. So let's go on to our next pick. It's going to be number 8, and it's going to be the Washington Redskins and Coach Jack Tyler. Jack had an interesting offseason. A lot of his players were not happy with the contract negotiations. A lot of his star players. We saw Josh Doxson test the market. We saw Keith Marshall test the market. Jatavis Brown, their middle linebacker, said no and had to get franchise tags. So we don't know what's going on over there in the water in Washington, D.C., but they are not happy. But, they all did sign back. He had to pay them all pretty handsomely. I think Josh Doxson is the highest paid wide receiver of all time. I think he makes more than every receiver on the Detroit Lions roster combined. But Justin, we know Jack's type of player. It's a tall, lanky, fast corner, receiver, linebacker, defensive end, whatever it is. They have to be tall. They have to be fast. Do we see Jack kind of stick to his formula here and go with the tall, fast guy?
I mean, have we ever seen Jack go away from his formula?
No, we have not.
I've seen him take guys in the 60s, signing them in free agency just because they have 88, 89 speed on the defensive side of the ball. So I would honestly say that he loves defense, obviously, but he definitely needs people on the offensive side of the ball as well because, obviously Doxson is the highest paid. He's basically the highest paid player ever. I think he makes more than Dan Snyder does. But I want to see him get somebody else kind of on the opposite side of the ball or potentially, some offensive line help. I know he's got a young line. So, that could potentially be a key need as well.
Absolutely. Well, I think they are walking the pick up to the podium as well here. And the pick is in. It's going to be wide receiver Barry Hodges out of the University of Florida. And yep, Jack stuck right to it. 6'5", 232, ran a 4.46 at the combine. This is a mean wide receiver with great catch in traffic. The big body. I mean, this is right down Jack's alley. Justin, surprised at all or no?
Not at all. But again, I mean, yeah, look at it. 4.46, 40, tall, lanky. 6'5", actually 6'5", 232 is not really lanky. I mean, that's pretty well built. Obviously, this is going to be a guy that you can probably put across from Doxson, and maybe he can carry his bags or something because for how much they're paying Doxson, he better be doing all the catching.
Boone, what's your take on Mr. Barry Hodges, sir?
Time out. Damn, he's making $30 million a year. That's insane. That's more than I paid Mariota when he won 2 or 3. That's ridiculous, yo. But I mean, as far as Hodges goes, he's got some big shoes to fill because he's definitely going to try and earn that paycheck. I mean, Doxson is making incredible amounts of money, and Hodges is a better receiver probably than Doxson is now because he's not even very good. But 4.46, he can catch in traffic. He can catch anywhere. He has great hands. Second best hands in the draft. I'm not going to call him best hands. That other receiver earlier was better. But he's definitely a star wide receiver in the making that could be as good as his offense allows him to be. Now, whether or not Jack throws the ball enough to make it happen, I know Trippett, however you say his name, has had a great start to his career. I think that Jack is more so of a running coach. He always has been. That's his MO. So whether or not he gets back to that is a great question. That'll be the indicator on how much Hodges can explode or not, and how selfish DIXON is with his $100 million. Good God.
Oh boy, we'll change the pace here and we'll go to the Cincinnati Bengals. This team, they had a rough season to say the least last year. 0-16, the third team ever to do it. Team needs, they got quarterback on there, cornerback on there, and a safety. They did add Ndamukong Suh, Tavon Austin. The big loss, I think, there we can all see it, is John Ross, Mr. 4.2 40-yard dash himself. What do you think is the strategy here for the Cincinnati Bengals with not a very talented quarterback on their roster, Justin?
Can they draft an offense?
No.
Because okay, then if they can only go with one person, I think they need a trigger man. They obviously a few years ago let Andy Dalton walk, and that was before this current owner took over. But after going 0-16, we've seen it with the Lions. We've seen it with now the Browns. In the real NFL, they need a trigger man. I mean, that one guy can really change everything for you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So let's hope they go quarterback here. Thinking the pick is about to be in, they're taking up to the podium. Boone, the pick is in. They did make the pick at quarterback, and they went with Cale Friedman out of Wisconsin, 6 feet tall, 223. Probably one of the most athletic quarterbacks we have in the draft. He ran that 4.59 40, which is third best out of all quarterbacks. You can see the 3 cone there with the 6.84 and 4.09 in the 20-yard shuttle, which are both top of all quarterbacks. A little tiny white boy here, 6 feet tall, not the strongest arm. Justin, do you like their pick at quarterback, or do you think there was somebody better on the board still?
I don't like it at all.
No.
I think that I know that this guy is pretty much guaranteed to be superstar development, but I don't like his arm strength, and I think that's something that we all have seen it in the past, where especially with the types of defenses that we have in our league, you have to have somebody who can get the ball out there to his receivers on those out routes. I think that there's 2 quarterbacks still on the board that I would have taken prior to this guy, but ultimately, I mean, obviously they saw something that they like. So, and he is a mobile quarterback. I know that they said he did more with his legs in I think it was the All-Star game or whatever the hell it was. So I'd be interested to see, obviously, like how he uses him in this league. Maybe we see some read option coming out of Cincy.
Boone, the quarterback guru himself. Do you like the pick of Cale Friedman here?
I do. I definitely think that the Bengals have been in the middle of some hard times at quarterback. I mean, with Andy Dalton being such an average bum, and God, the list goes on before him. Oh, Jesus. I think that he's going to be a solid quarterback. I don't necessarily know how much of a career he's going to have. My only question on him is if he's too small. And I know we've seen Drew Brees. I know we've seen Russell Wilson. And those are special types of quarterbacks. But, I mean, it really takes, a good type of system to develop one of these quarterbacks, because you have to deal with a lot of missed throws, a lot of short throws, because he doesn't come out with the big NFL arms you're used to. He's got the feet, yeah. He can make some throws. But as far as chucking it, 50, 60 yards downfield, that's not really going to be him. He doesn't have the arm for that yet.
I agree with you there, man. I do think there's a better quarterback on the board. Michigan State's Rashad Hollings. We'll see when Hollings goes. We know he had that incident earlier this morning that caused a lot of teams to pass on him. But we'll go to the Bucks here. They added Julio Jones this offseason. They lost. This is their second pick in the first round. Obviously, they had number 3, went with the stud running back out of Florida. Justin, do you think they address the defense side of the football here with the middle linebacker, cornerback, and D-line as their main team needs, or what do you think they're going to go with here?
I think they definitely need to address the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, I hate to keep saying it, but we have some really, really good defensive squads in this league. And really, we've seen it a million times over, in order to really win in this league, you have to be solid on the defensive side of the ball. You got to be young and quick too. So,
absolutely. Well, I'm thinking they're going up to the podium here. But with Rashad, with Friedman just going, I did talk to the Bucks, and they were not happy with Corey Prentice, the rookie they took last year. So it'll be interesting to see if they do go with a quarterback here. Prentice had a terrible year. The pick is in, and they did go with the quarterback. They went with the quarterback out of Michigan State, the guy we've all been talking about, Rashad Hollings. Some thought was the #1 quarterback in the draft, 6'3", 232. He definitely has one of the strongest arms in the draft. He is your prototypical pocket passer, has a little bit of athleticism to him. Justin, do you like Rashad Hollins' pick? I know you said there were other better quarterbacks out there than Friedman.
Yeah, he is the one that I was thinking of, obviously. The one thing that I'm not sure about, so they actually took Corey Prentice, who, if I remember correctly, was actually out of Michigan State also. And now they basically took the guy that was his backup and didn't start over him when he was there. I'll be interested to see how this pans out. I don't mind the pick, though, because I think he was the best available player.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's a great pick. Boone, quarterback guru again. Do you like Rashad Hollings at Michigan State?
I think that he's a solid quarterback, man. Like, he's just solid. But it begs the question, like my coworker here said, how good is he going to be 1 year in, 1 year of experience? What exactly is he going to be? You have the same quarterback out of the same system, and now you have this guy. Does he have the measurables? Yes. Did he throw well at the combine? Yes. But football is not played in T-shirts and shorts. It's played with pads on. So you have to wonder, when he comes onto that field in the Xcfl, how good is he going to do? There's some defenses in here that'll eat you up, and you're in the heart of it, to be honest. I mean, outside of the Saints, which are a little bit of a cakewalk, you got to wonder how easy is it going to be for him to try and adjust to that Xcfl speed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll move on here to number 11 pick. It's going to be the New York Giants. The Giants had that number 4 pick, and they ended up getting 10 from the Detroit Lions. They made a big swap there. Or they have 11, actually. Sorry about that. But the Giants' main needs here, they had a lot of needs to fill. They made a ton of trades this offseason, losing Julio Jones, Olivier Vernon, Chance Warmack. Their main need is a corner or a guard, or obviously an offensive lineman here. Boone, what do you think the Giants are going to go with here, sir?
I think that the Giants have, like I said last year, they had a rough team as far as like a start. They just need so many needs. So I think you can't really go cornerback here. There's not a lot of cornerbacks. They got to go guard here, possibly a Barton or a Krul. You want one of these big guys who could try and block for a quarterback, because I think it all starts on the offensive line. That's the fundamentals of this game. Besides, just defensive line and offensive line, you got to start up front. That's where it all starts, and that's where you got to go to build your team.
Boone shouting out the offensive line. Never thought I would hear the day. Justin, what do you think the Giants will go with here, sir?
Again, I already used this dumb joke, but they need an offense. They are really, really young. The last owner, I'll be very honest, he did not leave this team in a great position for the future. He had some really amazing wide receivers. He had some great people on the defensive side of the ball, but they were all aging, and they had obviously these aging contracts that were huge. Some of them in the $16 to $20 million range. So I think that he did a really good job. This owner did a really good job of moving pieces around. So I would like to see him go defense on this, and really shore up in a NFC East that obviously it's tough to win with Jack and Josh.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's one of the toughest defenses we have. All right, and they do go with a middle linebacker, Lucky Everett, out of the University of Texas. This is a athletic linebacker, 6 feet tall, 253. So he is solid, stocky. But the speed test at the combine, he absolutely blew a mile of water with a 4.55 40. And then you see a little bit of power with the 30 reps on the bench press, second out of all middle linebackers. I think they got a stud here. Justin, what's your take on Mr. Lucky Everett?
Yeah, he's a stud. He's actually somebody that I had my eye on, and obviously not going to get him. He's not going to fall down to where I'm at. But, yeah, absolutely a stud, and he's somebody that, again, is going to be phenomenal for a long time.
Boone, what's your take on Lucky Everett, sir?
Athletic freak. The kid is running a 4.5 40, and he's a bit of a linebacker, and he also was one of the top bench pressing linebackers at the combine. So as far as just a workhorse, he's that. But at 6 foot, you got to wonder just how impactful he could be at that short height. But I mean, we've seen short linebackers work well before. He can disappear behind the offensive line and just pop up when you least expect it. So maybe that works to his advantage, and he could pop up on some throws and manage to catch some picks. But I mean, they just have so many needs. So I mean, you just start plugging. You can.
This is a good one to start plugging with all that speed in the middle there. This is going to be a guy who's, I think he's got a chance for Rookie of the Year. He's going to be making all the tackles for that defense. So we'll see how it goes. 100 tackle guy for sure. But now we're going to have the first pick out of 2 picks for the Cleveland Browns. They're sitting here at 12 and 14. The Cleveland Browns, very talented team. He built them up pretty quick. They're very young. They didn't lose much, and they obviously acquired a couple first-round picks here. Main team needs: outside linebacker, cornerback, offensive line. This is a loaded roster that I think should take best player available. Justin, do you see them going or leaning any certain way here with what these 2 picks they have?
No, I mean, it's a loaded roster because obviously Brent knows what he's doing when it comes to his particular team. He's always kind of thinking about 3 steps ahead in terms of team building. So I definitely think it's just going to be best available. One thing that I'm shocked, there's actually a couple guys on the board, and we won't get into them, but there's a couple guys on the board that I am shocked didn't go top 10 that are still there here in the early teens.
Yeah, a lot of very talented guys. This was looked at as a pretty average draft class, but I think we're seeing some pretty good guys put up some nice numbers here at the combines. And pick is in for the Cleveland Browns, and it is the wide receiver out of Ohio State, Parker Haggins. Haggins is a beast. He came out as a redshirt senior. He's 24 years old, 6'2", 218. Wasn't really a combine monster other than he led the receivers with bench press reps with 23. But I think the intangibles are there. That's a word a lot of people go to and they don't have much to say about a guy, but this guy does. He is just an absolute dog. Justin, do you like the Parker Haggins pick?
I love Parker Haggins. This is actually one of the 2 or 3 guys that I was shocked didn't go top 10. There were other wide receivers that obviously went first. In my opinion, this is the best overall wide receiver in the game, the most well-rounded. He's not quite as big. He's not 6'5", 6'6", like some of the other 2 that we saw. But obviously, and he's a little bit older too. He's at 24 years old. So obviously, he's been to a lot of Thanksgivings at Urban Meyer's house. But he's a stud. I mean, A-, A-, B+, that's crazy.
Anytime you're the son of an Olympic athlete, you have a great chance to hit that superstar trait. Boone, do you like the Parker Haggins pick for the Cleveland Browns?
I think he's a stud. Number 1 hands in the draft, like I said before. This young man can do it all from Ohio State. I mean, he's not the fastest, but he's not slow. He's strong. He can make great catches. He's not the tallest, but he's definitely not a short wide receiver. You can't really go wrong with this guy. And I mean, when he walks into an offense that has Corey Coleman and Sammy Watkins and Njoku, I mean, Shalyn Dowling is poised for an amazing year this year. You just have to sit back and just watch an amazement, because I think he's going to put up at least 3,000 to 4,000 yards and probably 40 touchdowns easily.
Yeah, it's nice when you have a receiver like Haggins doesn't have to come in and be that burn, because you have the guys you mentioned, Watkins and Coleman, that can really help, and Haggins can kind of play that slot role and really catch the tough passes across the middle. But we'll move on here to number 13. It is the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals have a few needs to fill. They added Matt Ryan this offseason, and then they ended up making a trade for a young receiver in Gradkowski. They picked up Navarro Bowman, who's a little past his prime, but nevertheless a good vet in the locker room. Main needs are going to be that guard, a quarterback, a tight end. Justin, they picked up Matt Ryan, but do the Cardinals? Matt Ryan's obviously a short-term answer. He's almost 36, 37 years old. Do we see him go quarterback here? I think there's still a few quarterbacks left.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, obviously, I don't know. I think that you have, you said Matt Ryan, obviously at 37 years old. But I don't know. Austin Joe is still out there, and he's one of those guys that I know his overall talent, for whatever reason, was projected second round. But I think that you saw, obviously, he's the strongest arm in the draft class. The other stuff can be built up. I mean, the biggest thing, the hardest thing to build up is that arm strength. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, Justin, you were spot on with that pick. They went with the 22-year-old quarterback out of Alabama, Austin Joe. This is one of our 2 Alabama quarterbacks that are in this draft class. Austin Joe obviously being the younger of the 2, but that throw power, and I mean the most bench for a quarter, most reps at the combine out of all quarterbacks. This is a great pick. Boone, do you want to touch on Austin Joe a little bit?
I mean, he was my pick for the best quarterback in the draft, if you want to be honest. He reminded me a lot of Alan Navarre from last year, who was one of those big guys with a strong arm. And it's like he said, you take so much to build up throw power. So when he walks in at a 92 or 93 throw power, I mean, the sky is the limit with this guy. You add a couple for your short and medium accuracy, and that pretty much covers about 80% of the league's offense. And he's going to be a star. Like, you can't miss with him. And out of Alabama, the only question is he going to follow the trend of recent Alabama quarterbacks where they're all bums? Or is he actually going to be the first one that Alabama can actually produce?
Yeah, this is an interesting Alabama quarterback because he's not, the short mobile quarterback that they typically have. This is going to be that pocket passer, sling the football around 30 to 40 times a game. I think they a talented group of receivers. Obviously, adding Gradkowski helps, and I think Austin Joe, if he sits behind Matt Ryan for a year, that's probably good for him. Justin, would you throw Austin Joe right into the fire, or would you give Matt Ryan that year that you signed him for?
Oh man, so we saw this last year with Shaylin Downing and Matt Ryan. Actually, funny that it's Matt Ryan again. Yeah. Old 52-year-old Matt Ryan with his walker and his tennis balls are out there still hurling it around. I think honestly, Austin Joe's throw power is going to make a difference. I think he's actually going to be better than Matt Ryan off the bat, because obviously at this point Ryan's stats are falling. But I would have him on a short leash and know that, that's kind of an embarrassment of riches to know that you have Matt Ryan, veteran quarterback, waiting in the wings just in case something goes wrong.
Yeah, well, poor Matt Ryan here. But speaking of the Browns, Matt Ryan's former team, they just made the 12th pick. Now they're back at 14. They addressed their wide receiver need with Parker Haggins out of Ohio State. And now this is going to be the second of their 2 picks. Where are the Browns going here? Joe Thomas retired a few years ago. Do they address the offensive line need here? It's not the most talented offensive line class, but are we going to see him go offensive line here, Justin?
Yeah, I think they have to probably go offensive line here. But that being said, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they go with another. I'm actually to be honest, I'm kind of surprised to see corner on his list of team needs here, because I don't know. I mean, I know he's young at corner, but he's got some good, solid corners that I think could be developed. Maybe he's thinking if there's a home run to be hit to take that, but I really don't see that at this point in this draft class. So yeah, I would probably say offensive line's the pick.
Well, they are walking their pick to the podium. Yeah, this Browns roster is absolutely loaded. I've said it numerous times. And the pick is in, and it is going to be left guard Gavin Burton out of Pittsburgh. This guy is a absolute specimen. 6'5", 342 pounds, 36 reps at the combine, and he has the speed to go along with it, running a 4.99, which is third for all the left guards. And then the vertical, that 36-inch vertical out of a guy who weighs 342 pounds. I mean, if you can call an offensive lineman an athletic freak, this guy is the closest thing to it. Justin, do you like the Browns pick?
This dude's a beast. I can't believe that this guy fell. He actually, according to some of the experts that I talked to, he's actually the best offensive lineman in this draft class. Even though obviously I can't remember the left tackle's name off the top of my head. I apologize, but yeah, Heath Dalton. Yep. Even though Heath Dalton had all the eyes on him, Gavin Barton had a really, really solid all around review from everybody that I talked to.
Yeah, I'm big on this Gavin Barton pick. Boone, you're now an offensive lineman guru. Do you like Gavin Barton out of Pittsburgh?
I wouldn't call myself a guru, but I learned the value of a good offensive line when you don't have, Deshaun Watson running around back there. Yeah. But Barton is a solid pickup. I mean, when you're in the inside, run blocking is one of your most important traits, because that's where you're key, and that's what he has. He's been a solid run blocker. The measurables are off the charts. And did I see that correct? RG3 has a job?
Yeah.
How did he have another job? What is going on? I was gonna say so many glowing things about Cleveland, but then you hired RG3. I don't get it. I don't understand. The man can't throw to save his freaking life. So I don't understand how this man has a job. What are you doing over there? I guess you're picking a good pick, but I mean, you have RG3 as a quarterback, so something's going on in that front office. I don't really know. I predict
he's obviously going to need as much time as he can get.
Yeah, yeah.
It don't matter. It don't matter. He's not going to hit a target. Not
going to. You had Shaylin Dowling there last year, and he definitely struggled at times. They threw in Matt Ryan, but now when Downing goes to struggle, do you turn to RG3? I don't know. It's going to be an interesting situation in Cleveland. But we'll go ahead and move on here to pick 15. We're almost to the halfway point of the draft here. It is going to be our Tennessee Titans. This is another team. I don't think they have a need, but they have 2 first-round picks here. They added Jamal Adams this offseason, the stud safety from the Jets. They traded Corey Davis, the wide receiver, for him. They still have Mariota. They brought in Jacoby Brissett as a backup. They lose Navarro Bowman. They lost Delaney Walker, but brought him back. The main needs, middle linebacker, guard, and tight end. Where is Coach Yost and the Tennessee Titans going to go, Justin?
Oh man! So obviously he's set at in the defensive backfield. His secondary is absolutely just beastly and young enough that they can be beastly for a long time. I think, honestly, if it's me, I probably go. I would say linebacker here. They need to. The defensive line's fine. Secondary's great. I think linebacker is maybe their really only weakness on the defensive side of the ball. We know that. Coach Yost loves to play solid smash mouth defense.
Yeah, so we'll see what Yost goes. I think the pick is coming in. I don't know if we have. Do we have a graphic for this guy? I don't know. I don't think we have a graphic for this guy. So this was obviously was not ranked in our top 45 prospects. But it is going to be the left guard, Cruel. I don't know. I don't really know what to say because he wasn't ranked in our top. Our top 45.
So I actually do have him.
Okay.
He graded out very, very well. He was one of the top. He was just behind Gavin Barton as far as his overall grade out was concerned. So I actually do like this pick a lot. He's just maybe one step behind Gavin Barton in terms of his pass blocking ability. But his run blocking is absolutely great. And obviously, like I said, I mean, he's ranked on my board here as the 6th overall talent-wise. So he's somebody that kind of slipped under the radar.
All right, so Cruel, great pick according to Justin, so I like it too then. I'm going to take his word for it. Sorry we don't have a graphic. Yost, I apologize. So we're going to move along here to another team in that division. It's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team Boone knows very well. They're going to stay here at the 16th pick. They added Des Bryant. They added Ethan Cooper. Not a bunch of huge losses. I know the franchise has not been happy with their passing attack with, Josh Dobbs leading the way there. Ended up losing his job halfway through the season last year. You really only have Allen Robinson as the main weapon. Then you do bring in Des Bryant, which is nice. But the main team needs quarterback, defensive line, wide receiver. They did snag Deshaun Kaiser in a trade just before the draft, so I'm going to say they're not going quarterback here. You got Leonard Fournette. Do you beef up the offensive line, Justin, or what do you think the Jags go with here?
They've been really, honestly, looking for that quarterback for a while. Now, I don't know that there's one that I would take this early now. So I think if it's me, I go probably just best available. I know they have wide receiver up there, and there are a ton of just blue chip stud wide receivers in this draft. Last year we had the quarterback draft class, the year of the QB. Now we have the year of the wide receiver. So I would probably go wide out here.
All right. So where the Jags bringing the pick up to the up there. And the pick is in, and they went with defensive end Hunter Dexter out of Louisville, 6'3", 300 pounds. This is a big boy. You see the B+ block shed, the B+ tackle, the B+ power moves. In my opinion, this is the best defensive end in the draft. I know people had Nick Casillas out of Wisconsin ranked pretty high, but I like the Dexter pick here. He just, he's ready. He's more pro ready than Casillas is. And at 6'3", 303, this guy is a beast. Justin, what's your take on Mr. Hunter Dexter? And
I like it a lot. Yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, he's at 303 pounds and still able to run a sub 5 40-yard dash. that's a quick man. I think, you know, B plus, B plus, B plus all across the board. And then if you look down at his acceleration and agility stats and his strength, he's going to be able to get off the ball really quickly on a defense that's already beastly. So I think that's a great pick.
Boone, do you like the Hunter Dexter pick? Is he going to sack Hudson Fowler a few times or what?
I don't like it one bit because I don't feel like dealing with this. I mean, they don't need more defensive players. Like, go offense. Do something on offense. I'm tired of this crap, man. You don't need a D lineman. I got someone to stop him, but Jesus Christ, this man has potential off the charts. I really don't understand why they had to go this way. You know, I hear kickers are they have like really strong legs in this draft right now. There's no reason to even take them. So, I mean, I think he's a solid pick. I'm going to have to deal with him twice a year. I would say 3 times, but he's not going to make playoffs. I will. So, you know, good luck over there drowning in Jacksonville.
Shots fired early for the AFC South. All right, we'll move on here to pick number 17, past the halfway point. It is the Denver Broncos, their lone pick of the first round, like most teams have. They're sitting here at 17. They added Tawan Taylor in a trade with the Titans. They brought in Brian Merciless. They made the big signing and got Reggie Ragland, the middle linebacker, out of free agency, which I know a lot of people were after him. They traded away Shane Ray. They traded away Long Dane, both to the Falcons, I believe. Main team need they got down here is a quarterback, offensive line, and a cornerback. I know I'm not sure what their quarterback situation is here in Denver, but Justin, is quarterback an option here?
Yeah, quarterback is an option, but again, I think you're reaching right now. I think that you can wait and get there's 2 or 3 guys who are in the second round, or I should say evaluated in the second round, that I think you could maybe wait on and get later on in the draft. I don't think that any of the quarterbacks left on the board are worth this pick, though. So I think, again, you probably just go best available and shore up whatever need you have.
So while we wait for the pick to come in here, we'll kind of just recap. You know, we're past the halfway point. Justin, is there any pick that sticks out to you that you really like, or some player that just, you know, was your number 1 rated guy?
I think, yeah. Well, I mean, I think obviously Gavin Barton. I'm shocked that he fell down to 14. Actually, to be honest, I think the Browns hit 2 home runs. I think Parker Higgins, which by the way, Corey Coleman, Sammy Watkins, Parker Higgins. Hopefully they never have to run anything more than a 3 receiver set, because they probably don't even need an offensive line. But yeah, Gavin Barton, I think, is probably the biggest shock that he fell that low.
Boone, same question to you. Is there any prospect that sticks out to you after the first 16 picks?
I mean, I got 2. I think Joe is just the best quarterback in the draft. And in a draft that's packed with quarterbacks, you know, we have year of the quarterback too, clearly, right back to back. I think Austin Joe is definitely the biggest acquisition of this draft so far. Next to probably Dixon Bishop from Detroit. I think Dixon Bishop is just going to be a star. I don't think you can miss on him in any way, shape, or form. He's going to be a walking stud, easily a 90 in his first year. So with those 2 picks over there, I think you can't really miss.
Yeah, that's some solid picks. If I'm going to look at them all myself here, I like the Lucky Everett pick that the Giants made. You get your middleman, your speed middle linebacker that's just going to fly around the field. I think the Bucs hit 2 home runs as well, taking their running back, the Heisman Trophy winner Curtis Roberts, as well as, you know, getting their quarterback Rashad Hollings out of Michigan State. And, you know, the Bucs, he was targeting a quarterback at number 3, and I'm sure he was just thrilled to be sitting there at 10 and end up getting the number 1 ranked quarterback on his board. Another great draft from ARV. He's one of those draft gurus for sure. We're sitting here waiting for the Broncos pick to come in. But I mean, so far this draft, I think it's exceeded our expectations a little bit here. You know, a lot more talent than we would have thought. Justin, any team that completely missed on any of their picks, or?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but after going 0-16, I think the Bengals whiffed. They missed out on 2 better quarterbacks. I think Friedman was the 3rd best quarterback in this class, and somehow was the first off the board. I don't really see any others as I just kind of scroll through here. I don't see any others that I would consider big misses, though.
Boone, same question to you. Anybody completely blow their first, top 15, top 16 pick here?
Well, that's an easy one. The Saints. You need a
Oh,
quarterback.
boy.
That's an easy one. Like you draft great players, and don't get me wrong, they're going to be producers. They're going to make plays, but you need a quarterback. What are you thinking?
Yep.
I guess the fact that they had the best quarterback in the league and couldn't do anything with him led them to be Bum could do what he did. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess, they did what was best for them. But at the same time, you need a quarterback. Like, you can't – I understand what's going on in real life with the Blake Bortles and Case Keenum. But, I mean, we're not real life. We are Madden players.
Well, the Broncos pick is in, and it is going to be the right outside back there at Miami, Griffin Holt. Only 22 years old, a blazing 40 at 4.55. I do like this Griffin Horde pick. He's a small guy, 6 feet, 226. He's one of those, he can play the safety. He played safety in college. He played middle outside linebacker. He flies all over the field. When an outside linebacker comes in at 226, though, Justin, do you worry he's going to get pushed around a little bit it's such a small frame from an outside linebacker in the Xcfl?
Don't worry about that, because if you look down a little bit lower, you're going to see that he had 26 bench reps, and even though he's a small-statured guy compared to some of these other guys, he's obviously, built like a brick house. And overall, I mean, look at that combine, 7.1 grade, 4.55 40. That's faster than some of these wide receivers that have gone in the first round.
Real quick in the chat, our Bengals owner gave Justin the middle finger for commenting on his quarterback pick.
Well, he gave his own team the middle finger by picking that guy.
All righty, so we'll move on here past the Broncos, and we're going to be at the 18th pick. It's going to be the Chicago Bears. The Bears took a lot of steps forward this year. I know their owner's out of town, so they took a couple extra losses than they would have, but Jordan Howard is an absolute stud. They add Ben Jones, the center from Tennessee, to pair, and then bring in Desmond King from the Detroit Lions. They really didn't lose too much. They lost a tight end, but the main needs are going to be wide receiver, quarterback, and defensive end. This Chicago Bears team is right on the cusp of making some serious noise in the NFC. Justin, where are these Chicago Bears going to go in this draft?
Well, they have a lot of needs, but they don't have any what I would consider really, really pressing needs. Obviously, I think a lot of these teams that are on the bubble need a quarterback, and I'll just repeat myself over and over. Not anybody on the board at this point that I would take this high. So again, best available for me. Corner, you're not going to get anybody back here or up here, I should say, that's worthy of it. So probably, you see defensive end. I think there are a couple really good defensive ends that are still on the board that we haven't seen go that he could potentially go for in this spot.
Yeah, there definitely is a couple talented defensive ends. The number 1 ranked defensive end, Nick Castillas, is still there out of Wisconsin. There's Dominic Tuitt out of Texas. There's a couple great defensive linemen still available. I'll be curious to see if he goes there. I know there's a massive defensive tackle. The pick is in, and they are going to go with the defensive end from Wisconsin, Nick Castillas, 22 years old. Another guy he's a big boy, 6'4", 304. I think he drops because his bench press was so low for a guy his size with only 25 reps. He wasn't really a combine warrior. Justin, do you like the Castillas pick for the Chicago Bears?
I love it. Not a great combine, obviously, but we've seen that in the past, and guys have still had successful careers. I'm a little bit concerned with the speed off the ball. I think his acceleration's going to just be fine, or going to be just fine, I should say. Sorry, but his speed, his top end is really kind of bottom of the pack. I'm just curious to see if he's able to chase down these, some of these mobile quarterbacks or halfbacks that are able to get outside and catch the edge.
Boone, do you like the Castillas pick here, or would you like to see the Bears go a different way here? 18.
I mean, I think he's a solid player. He's not the fastest on the board. He's not the fastest at all. I mean, but who are we kidding? The Bears aren't going to be competing for much this season. So, I mean, he's got time to grow and develop and maybe become quicker with his feet. So he's a solid player. He can make all the plays that he needs to. He's a sure tackler. That's one thing you can't coach is short tackling. That's instincts right there. He really has a nose for the football. So maybe make some plays for him, and maybe they can be possibly, at best case scenario, 6-10. So yeah, sure. Why not?
Wow. So mark it down. Boone's just taking a big dump on the Bears here after going 9-7. So we'll move on to number 19. We're almost to the end of the draft. Well, not almost to the end. We got a ways to go, but we're getting there. We're chugging along. It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs were completely silent this offseason. I mean, we didn't even hear from Knockout the entire offseason. He didn't add anybody. He lost some guys that really don't make a huge difference. I know Eric Berry's getting old, so safety's a huge need. He does have kicker down as a need and cornerback. So I think it's safe to say they're not going to take a kicker here. I think there was only one in the entire draft class, so that'd be very impressive if he goes in the first round. Justin, the Chiefs, where are they going here at number 19?
So I think it's kind of funny that the Chiefs are the only team that spelled out the entire name of the position. Yeah. But I think I don't know. I mean, they are aging at safety, and I do think that he had somebody. I don't have his roster pulled up. I thought that he had somebody that was kind of waiting in the wings to take over.
Yes, last year he drafted, I believe was Jacoby Mack out of Wisconsin, who was the stud. He was a stud for him this year.
Yeah, so I'm surprised that he's listing safety as a need. Obviously, though, that could be. I don't know if Mack was a free safety or strong safety, so it could be the opposite or the other one. Maybe that's what he's saying by need. Kicker, I don't know why the hell you'd even list that as a need. But in corner, Marcus Peters is getting old now at this point. I mean, I think he's probably 27, 28. So obviously, he's kind of getting to that point where you're going to need somebody to backfill him. I'd probably, I know it's still probably too early to take a corner, but I would start looking at the defensive backfield for sure.
Yeah, well, they're bringing the pick is in, and it is going to be 21 right guy. Keldrick Shield. Sorry about that. Keldrick. Keldrick comes in at 6'2", 310. Now I'm just going to keep saying his first name. He was kind of a little combine warrior here, a big man running 4.91 first at all the right guards, and then he pumped out 35 reps at the bench press, 766 cone drill. I think this is a good pick for the Chiefs. Like we said, age 21 years old. It'll be pretty quick to upgrade this dude. Justin, do you like the Keldrick Shields pick?
I do. I think his attributes probably are not going to be as high. I shouldn't say his attributes. Obviously, his speed and acceleration are going to be freaking phenomenal. But I think the pass block, run block is maybe a little bit low, or at least the run block is obviously. But ultimately, it looks like his strength is going to be there. His speed and acceleration are going to be there. It's somebody that can get out and run, pull and make a block out in the open field. So, yeah, I do like it. I think it's a good pick. And 21 years old, so he's going to develop quickly.
Absolutely. Boone, do you like the Shields pick here for the Chiefs?
Yeah, I think that the Chiefs just wanted to focus on continuity this offseason, and they just wanted to build on what they had. They had some solid pieces last year, and, you had a hole at guard, and you filled it with Shields. And Shields is 21 years old, so you have the sky is the limit with this kid. Like he shows a lot of skills, a lot of great footwork, good hands. He's quick when he's pulling, so you have no problem with the pulling guard with him. I don't really think you can miss on this one with him. He fits into a system with a solid offensive line. You got Travis Kelce there who can block for you too and add a little help, chip block. So with all the veteran leadership around him, he doesn't really have a chance to fail here.
Yeah, I agree. Not a bad pick. We'll move on here. Number 20, the Buffalo Bills. The Bills has been a team that has drafted very well in the past 2 years here, bringing in some huge talent on the defensive side of the football. They added Cam Newton this offseason, which most people didn't really expect him to be a free agent. He came out, the Panthers let him go, and now Bills gave him a huge deal, brought in Aldon Smith, brought in a first-round pick. He lost his running back, Rashad Morris, but team needs cornerback, wide receiver, and offensive line. Where are we going to see the Buffalo Bills go here, Justin?
Yeah, they do have a lot of needs, honestly. But he did improve a lot. Cam Newton is not going to be somebody that you can rely on for longer than a couple years at most at this point. Aldon Smith, not going to be somebody that you can rely on for more than a couple of years either. So again, corner, not going to do it this early. Wide receiver, offensive line, I still think there's some awesome wide receivers still on the board at this point in the draft.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, deep wide receiver class. I think the commissioner's bringing the pick to the podium. Boone, do you see the Bills going any special position here, or what's your take on Buffalo?
I mean, they gotta go receiver at this point, you know. Like, it's just so many receivers here, and I get you could probably go a little later. I know they have the number 48th pick as well, so I mean, possibly there'll be some waiting for them then. But with all the receivers on the board, you can't turn down a chance to make your offense explosive and dynamic. And there's a lot of small guys. I know that's really popular in this league with these little short receivers, but they're quick, they're fast. These little Amendola, you know, Wes Welker types. So I mean, I think you got to go that route, but. You know, I mean, who knows what's going on in Buffalo? They have a 6-10 team, so they have a lot of work to do.
Well, the pick is in, and they went with the right guard out of Wisconsin, Cooper Riley, 23 years old, 6'3", 323. He placed in the top 5 of every combine stat for right guards, which is, you like to see that. Impact block is B. We know how important that impact block is. So, I mean, that's going to be huge for this Buffalo Bill offensive line. They kind of got the running game going last season, so I think this will be a nice little addition to that and kind of keep them rolling. But as far as a pick, I think it's right there at the 20th pick. I think that's as good as it's going to get for an offensive lineman this year. We'll move on here to 21, and it's going to be everyone's favorite team, the New England Patriots. Another quiet offseason. They lost Rob Gronkowski, the longtime All-Pro stud tight end. So obviously their number one team need is tight end. They got quarterback listed on there. I think they had Tannehill starting last year, and they definitely probably want to upgrade that. And then a cornerback. Justin, is there a quarterback you would see New England taking here at 21, or are they going to go best player? Actually, we'll go to Boone first. Boone, do you think there's a quarterback left that they can go with here?
I think there's a couple of quarterbacks worth mentioning around this time. You still have
there's Roy Norris. Yeah,
you still have some of these guys out here who are solid quarterbacks, but at this point in time, it's a lot of reaching. Like, let's say you went cornerback, you're reaching. There's not a lot of talent in the cornerback pool. So, I mean, I guess they could take a quarterback here. Do I think that one deserves to go here? Maybe not really. I think they're just kind of here because of the craze. But hey, maybe they take one, maybe they don't. But they do have a few needs here. Maybe you go tight end. I think there's a lot of depth at tight end this year.
Absolutely. I could see him do that. They're bringing the pick to the podium. The pick is in, and they did go quarterback. They went with Ray Norris out of Alabama. Norris is the mobile quarterback that kind of played alongside Austin Joe at Alabama this year. Interesting to note that they both got drafted in the first round. But you see that 4.53 40-yard dash. This is a guy who, maybe down the road gets moved to a, slot back kind of player. He is like your Blake Sims, your Jalen Hurts quarterbacks you've seen at Alabama in the past. Only 6'2", 224, built more like a running back. But he did put up a decent combine. So, I mean, Boone, Ray Norris, is he worthy of that pick, or should they have just gone with a different position?
I'm going to make a prediction here. Ray Norris is going to play for the Texans as soon as he flames out.
Oh, boy.
New England, because he's pretty fast. He's fun to play with, but, I mean, he's not – he doesn't really have the arms to be playing around with the big boys. Let's be honest. If he did, he wouldn't have had to share the quarterback role. That's just something that I don't think should happen at quarterback. You need a solid quarterback. And Joe was the one. You couldn't beat out that quarterback because his arm was stronger. He made the NFL throws. You can even tell from his picture, he throws sidearm. When was the last time we see the sidearm quarterback work out well? The last one we saw was Vince Young. And what did Vince Young do? He flamed out.
A whole lot of nothing.
So I just think that he's probably not going to really pan out to be much. But, hey, he's talented. Maybe he makes some plays. Maybe he surprises you.
You got to love the QB analysis of Coach Boone. I think my comparison would be, a David Fales type quarterback with Ray Norris. Justin, do you like Ray Norris or no?
I do. I just don't think that it's worth going this high in the draft. I think that there's so many other positions. This guy, I do think that he could be solid, but not in the first round. You could have gotten this guy probably mid to late second round. So I'm surprised that he reached here. I really think that he did reach here, but I could be wrong. I've obviously been proven wrong before, basically 16 games a year. So I guess we'll find out.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. 22 with the Atlanta Falcons. This is one of the teams that had one of the busiest off seasons They started with a couple of picks, ended up with none, then they got back in. They've been all over the place. They loaded up on picks for next year. They brought in a ton of young talent, Devontae Parker, outside linebacker Shane Ray. They picked up Jamar Taylor, who was a huge free agent battle. Some key losses. They lost some older guys, Claiborne, Alford. They traded away Tywan Taylor. Team needs, they got defensive tackle, offensive line, outside linebacker. This is another team that they don't have any team needs. I don't care what it says on there. They're loaded. They've only lost, 6 games in the last 2 seasons. One of the best teams in the NFC. Justin, what does Brian need to go with for the Falcons to not F this up?
Well, I mean, as most of everybody listening knows, Falcons owner is one of my best friends, and I secretly hate his ass because every damn time that I turn around, he's making his team stronger. He literally, I went through his roster, and there is not one glaring need at all. So, obviously, and I talked to him before, it's going to be best available, basically. I do know, though, the offensive line, he re-signed Alex Mack, so he was able to do that. But that's not going to be a long-term solution. So I think that he really needs to go offensive line heavy in this draft to shore that up for, the end of the cycle as we approach the final, 3, 4, 5 seasons.
Absolutely. And I think I agree with you. I think that's what the Falcons will do. I think the pick is in, and they did. They went with who most people had as a #1 rated offensive lineman, Heath Dalton, the left tackle out of LSU. Dalton was at the top of a lot of teams' boards, only 21 years old, 6'6", 310. He is your prototypical, left tackle. Combine-wise, I think he did all right. The speed and the athleticism isn't there as much as, the bench press. He put up 33 reps in the bench press. You can't ask for much more. He gets all the B grades here from the impact block, the pass block, the run block. To me, the rich get richer here with the Falcons adding Heath Dalton. Justin, what do you think?
Yep, totally agree on that. I think that obviously I'm actually shocked. He's one of the youngest, if not actually he is the youngest. You can't get any younger than 21. Yeah. So he's the youngest offensive line, or obviously tied as the youngest. I'm sure there's others, but there's nobody that I would have picked above this guy. Like I said, maybe the guard that the Browns picked up, Gavin Barton. But this guy, I am shocked that he fell this low.
Alrighty, so that I agree with you there, Boone. Good with the Heath Dalton pick. Did you see Dalton fall this long, or?
I gotta be honest, I didn't. Man, this kid is a star. Blocking. He's blocking all the talent in the SEC, and the SEC is the football mecca, as we all know. At LSU, they come tough down there. He's a big kid, 6'6", 310. Like, that's what you look for in your offensive lineman. That's a big guy. He's going to be able to cover a lot of ground, move a lot of people out the way. He had 33 reps at the combine, quick feet. I mean, the kid was a monster. Like, he was just an all-around monster there. And like you said, the Falcons have no real weakness. Like, when you have that kind of luxury, you could take who you want at that point, because you have all the players in the world to do what you want. So, he blocked all year for Desmond Hasty, the running back, big power running back with a little bit of speed. I mean, this is stuff you can't coach. So he has all the experience in the world to come in and make a significant impact for Freeman.
Absolutely. So we're going to move on here to pick number 23. This is the pick I've been waiting for. This is Commissioner Jim McMillan's pick. Jim in history has not been a ideal, talented drafter. Great player. Not a good drafter, but he fought back in, got the 23rd pick. Not a very active offseason. He added tight end Will Tye, but not much else. Got rid of some of his older players in Cam Hayward. Main need, he's got defensive line. We hear Jim complain all year long. He can't get pressure on the quarterback. Justin, is there someone left in this draft that Jim can take that will help him get some sacks?
Yeah, I do think that there's a couple guys in this draft still. I think that there are – I think a lot of times we as a league look at these left and right outside linebackers and defensive ends as your primary pass rushers. But I think we sometimes overlook defensive tackles, and there are 2 or 3, according to this still on my board, that are really, really solid and potential superstars. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went defensive line. He's got an aging core group of players there in Pittsburgh. So obviously quarterback is a need with Big Ben going to AARP here shortly. But you know, outside of again, I don't think there's anybody in that position that I would take.
I think the Steelers have turned their pick in. I think they are ready to make their announcement. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you here. This, you know, there's not a lot of quarterbacks left. I know Roethlisberger's at an old age. They need a quarterback eventually. He did stick around. I don't know what his throw power and everything's like. But I hope Jim goes somebody to the defensive side of football. I like what you said with the defensive tackle. All right, the pick is in, and it is a defensive lineman, but it is a defensive end, Dominic Tuitt from Texas. This is another guy, you know, 6'3", 287, 23 years old. You can see the biceps in the picture. He's well built. He's athletic. He ran a 4.79, which is, you know, for somebody 287, he's moving pretty fast. Is this a difference maker for this Pittsburgh Steelers D-line, Justin?
I think it can be. Obviously, you look at look at the combine. He's kind of like top 10 in everything, and what that says is that he's one of those guys that's really good at everything, but not like an absolute beast or stud at any one particular thing. But I think that's actually plays to how the Steelers play. He actually set the goal that he wanted to be the #1 defense in the league this year. He's had the #1 passing and #1 rushing attack in years past, and he's never had a defense. So this is something that I want to keep my eye on and see, you know, if this Tuitt kid can actually start year one. And looking at it, you know, looks like he probably can.
Well, I'm going to say right now, Jim, keep dreaming. You won't have the stick to offense, buddy. Boone, do you like the Tuitt pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I think Tuitt is an outstanding player. He comes at 23 years old, so he's had a couple years in that system down there in Texas and just learning and growing and really, really changing his game of football and developing himself into a great player. Being able to get off the blocks is what his biggest attribute is. At such a small size of 287, you know, you're really looking for him to make that play and really make that extra play and get outside on that edge. But going up against, you know, Le'Veon every year, you know, it shouldn't be too hard for him to get accustomed to the Xcfl speed. And I think Jim has come a long way as far as being a coach and an owner. You know, he's grown with the league as Xcfl has grown. He's become a better player because I remember years where he was at the bottom. So he's really turned that corner and developed himself into a coach. So we'll see if he continues to progress on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Jim is an old man, that is for sure. All right, so moving on to number 24 here. We're back with the Redskins. They have back-to-back picks at 24 and 25 after having the number 8th pick and taking the wide receiver out of Florida, Barry Hodges. All Jack's needs are on the defense side of the football, defensive end, outside linebacker, offensive line. But we all know the story with the Washington Redskins and Jack, and I know exactly who he's going to pick. It is going to be a safety, and it is going to be a tall, fast safety. Justin, I mean, we know what's coming. Not much to say.
Yeah, I mean, his water boy's got like 86 speed.
Yes, and I mean the Redskins. I know they just recently before the draft dealt away a lot of their defensive backs. They dealt away Ahkello Witherspoon and a couple other guys that, you know, I think he's been looking for that safety. I know that because he's hit me up about Josh Jones probably 3 or 4 different times each year. And obviously we all know Josh Jones is not going anywhere. The pick is in, and it's exactly what I thought it would be. It is Caesar Claiborne out of Washington State. Now, this guy had a round 3 projection, but I made this graphic specifically because I knew Jack was going to reach for him in the first round. 6'3", 21 years old, 4.48 40-yard dash, which is 3rd best out of all free safeties. You see the B- hit power. The guy looks like a mean dude in his picture. Justin, do you like the Caesar Claiborne? I don't want to call it a reach because I think he has talent, but do you like the Caesar Claiborne pick?
Well, the bottom line is it is a reach, but if it's a reach that plays out the way that he wants it to, then it's not a bad reach. He's obviously faster than hell, and playing out in the Pac-12, he's seen a lot of pass-heavy offenses. So I think that maybe, you know, this could be a good pick overall. He's not going to be starter ready probably year one, but you know, we've all seen Jack put guys out there that probably weren't quite ready and developed them really quickly because he took a chance. So
absolutely.
I think he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's looking for. So I think it's a good pick. I don't think it's too big of a reach.
So since it's the Redskins pick again, we're just gonna Boone. Do you think? Do you like the way Jack drafts? You know, he doesn't really pay attention to the grade at all. Guys that fit his scheme, what he wants to do. Do you agree with that style of drafting?
I mean, it's a very Bill Belichickian style of drafting. He knows what he likes, and they fit his system. Now, along with his water boys running at 86 speed, they also make probably like $40 million a year. Josh Stockton didn't quite do much. He's making a whole hell of a lot of money. So, well, anyone who gets drafted here is going to be pretty happy. You see the smile on Claiborne's face when he got drafted. I'd be smiling too if I knew I was going to make $140 million. That's crazy. So I think he's just gonna pick whoever's fast. That's really all he's looking for. He hit me up about a running back who was a 96 speed. So I mean, you could just look for anyone fast. Kicker probably runs a fucking like 89. just be ready. Like kicking, fake punts, fake kicks. They can do it all because they all can run. They're all track stars.
Yes. Absolutely. So while we await this next Redskin pick to be in. I do like the Claiborne pick. I think it was very predictable, and I think Jack was very happy to see him fall all the way down here to. Well, I guess he didn't fall because he was not projected to go anywhere near.
He fell. He just fell up.
Yeah, he fell the wrong way. He rose to the top, the cream of the crop. We got the next pick in for the Washington Redskins, and it is going to be who is it? It is the right tackle out of Miami, Armand Hayden, 22 years old. 6'4". No surprise, this guy ran the second fastest 40, so the Redskins keeping that up. He had 39 reps at the combine, so he's first out of all right tackles in the bench press. B impact block, B run block. I know Jack, even an offensive lineman, all he cares about is strength, and then obviously the speed's going to be there with everybody. But this is a 22-year-old guy who pumped out 39 reps at the combine. Justin, happy with this pick? You know, they had a pretty good draft so far.
Yeah, they've had a really good draft so far. I do like this. Obviously, you know, you had Lewis Wilfork up there as the best probably overall right tackle. I actually had this guy at the top 50. So he was, I'm sorry, 55. So almost the top 50. So
okay.
I know that maybe, again, it might be a little bit of a reach here, but I think that if you have a need, you have to go get it. And obviously, you know, he did have that need. So I'm okay with it. I think it's a good pick. I think this dude's going to be a beast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another Jack-like pick with the 39 bench press reps for offensive linemen. We'll go ahead over here and slide. We're done with the Redskins. Forget them. We've talked about them 3 different times this draft.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired of them.
I am too. So we'll move on to pick 26. We are almost done here, guys. Hang in there. It is 26, and it is the Green Bay Packers. We all know the big story here. The Packers traded Aaron Rodgers to the Philadelphia Eagles. They brought back in that trade C.J. Beathard, but obviously they didn't think Beathard was the answer because they went out and grabbed Carson Wentz in free agency. They also snagged a couple of the older gentlemen in free agency, Aqib Talib, Rob Gronkowski, pretty much all the old vets everybody dumped. Green Bay went and scooped them right up. Justin, do you like the strategy of the Packers in free agency?
I mean, I do. You have to get rid of Aaron Rodgers at this point. Honestly,
yeah.
He's way too old. We're too far advanced in this league for him to stay around much longer. And if you can get any value out of him, which I think he did, you have to let him go. So I do think, you know, his strategy so far this offseason has been good. Bottom line is he's building the team the way he wants it. The one thing that concerns me though is Talib and Gronk are both also old. You know, these aren't guys that we see playing right now. These are guys that have been past their prime for a while. So I don't know how that's going to play out. I think Gronk is still like a 99 overall. He's like 46 years old though.
Yeah. The pick is in, and they went with Colby Kinder out of Wisconsin. So this is our second Wisconsin quarterback taken in the first round. We had Cale Freeman go earlier. So we've had 2 Alabama quarterbacks, 2 Wisconsin quarterbacks. Boone, I'm going to pass this one right over to you, sir. Do we like Colby Kinder, the 23-year-old quarterback out of Wisconsin?
I mean, it's a good pick, absolutely. You know, he's got the throw power, and that's, like we said earlier, that's the hardest thing to build when you're building a quarterback. So you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on that because you want to save your money for a lot of the other things. But you'd like for his second skill not to be throwing on the run. You kind of like for it to be throwing short or throwing medium. So that just lets you know his accuracy is a little bit of an issue. If his accuracy is not up to a B-, you know, you're going to be seeing a lot of errant throws, a lot of picks. But, I mean, he should have a ball over there at the Green Bay bingo hall that they have going on over there. Everyone's freaking like security over there. So, hey, you know, As long as Gronk can move his little walker down the field fast enough, you got a touchdown, sir.
My only question is, doesn't when you're old, doesn't your skin actually thin out? Like, how's that going to work in the frozen tundra?
I mean, you know, it's going to be rough. Everyone's going to be complaining that they're cold all the time, and it's going to be in the summer. So, you know, hey, when it gets to the cold, I don't think you're able to handle it.
Do we see Kinder this year, or is it going to be the Wentz, CJ Beathard? Who's going to be the quarterback for Green Bay this year?
I think it's got to be Kinder, because you spent the first-round pick on him. You have to start him.
Even after bringing in Carson Wentz?
Absolutely, because, I mean, Carson Wentz is decent, but he's not your future. If you thought he's your future, you wouldn't have drafted Kinder.
I agree.
Yeah, I actually agree with that that theory or that mentality, but I do think it's Carson Wentz, just because I know he didn't pay him for nothing.
We'll see what happens, I guess. That's my NFC North competition.
Oh, you're right. It's not the Redskins.
Yeah. Let's go ahead here and slide over to number 27. It is the Rams. The Rams playing that tough NFC West. They had a bunch of guys they lost. You saw Michael Brockers walk. You saw Gerald McCoy. So the two big boys in the middle there. They did bring Olivier Vernon and Melvin Ingram in. Those are two pass rushers off the edge. And then a huge trade with the Chargers, and they brought in Hunter Henry, the young stud tight end. Team needs. He's got offensive line, outside linebacker, cornerback. Boone, where are the Rams going to go? Because I think we have the Rams owner, so we don't need to ask him. So let's ask Boone.
I think they should go outside edge rusher, probably a Sasser. Sasser's been on the board, and he's a top talent, and I just can't understand why he's falling. And, I mean, the Rams already have freaking Aaron Donald, who just walks through everyone's offensive line, no matter whether he's double or triple team. So you can't really go wrong there. So a nice compliment to him would be like a Sasser, who's maybe not the fastest, but he gets off of blocks very well. So I think that the Rams should have an awesome time there, and it doesn't take much to adjust to playing in front of 10,000 people in a little soccer stadium. All
right, well, the pick is in, and they did go with a rusher, a defensive. This is one of my favorite picks of the entire draft. It is the 6'7", 314, 22-year-old monster, Russell Bowers out of USC. This guy, I mean, he's massive. He's scary. Look at his face mask. He's pointing at the offensive lineman. This is a scary man. 37 reps in the bench press, B block shed right out of the gate. To get this guy at 27, oh, my God, it's a top 15 talent. Justin, you are the owner of the Los Angeles Rams. So what was your thinking of grabbing Russell Bowers here at 27?
Yeah, so same thing that you basically just said. So I actually moved Aaron Donald back to the inside for the interim, but now I think with this pick, I can actually put him back on the edge.
Yes.
This guy's 80 overall right out of the gates at 27th pick. He's 85 block shed, 81 power moves. The dude's going to be an absolute beast, and he's somebody that I think can plug up the hole. 89 strength, 314 pounds. He's a beast.
Yeah, that's a very good pick. I'm very impressed because I loved Bowers, and I thought he would have been off the board way earlier than 7. Bravo on the pick, and wow, to come in at 80 overall, that's somebody you can plug and play right away. We'll go ahead and move on here to the 28th pick, the Tennessee Titans' second pick of the first round. They went with the left guard earlier at 15. Do we see them bolster up this offensive line again? Do they go hit their middle linebacker need? Justin, any thoughts on where Coach Yost goes with the 28th pick?
I think that he's also he's one of those guys that he knows what he needs, but he's not going to reach for it. So he's going to take best overall. I am surprised, truthfully, that there haven't been more wide receivers off the board so far. I know that he says that one of his team needs is tight end. I didn't see a whole lot of tight ends that I think would be worth a reach, but there are some big possession wide receivers that could potentially kind of fill that gap for him. So maybe that's a avenue that he looks at.
Yeah, I can see that too. Boone, you know Coach Yost very well. What do you think he's going to?
Well, Yost is a very power offense type of guy. He kind of had lightning in a bottle with Marcus Mariota actually appearing to compete for an MVP. He's not very much of a thrower, but I guess he got lucky. So, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So, he's very much a power runner, and he went with the offensive lineman before. I think he'll go to offensive lineman here. He likes that. He likes to build from the line out, defense and offense. And I just think he's going to go with the offensive lineman to really shore up that front and give Derrick Henry some more running lanes. I know he'd love to run with Derrick Henry and get him a nice 1,500-yard season. So I'm definitely looking for something of that nature, a strong guy.
All right, well, the pick is in, and they did go with that strong guy. They went with right tackle, Lewis Wolford, another Wisconsin guy. This is Vince Wilfork's son, 23 years old, 6'6", 330 pounds, B-plus run block, B-plus impact block, 37 reps at the combine. This is a great pick for 28. Yost does it again, snags another stud this late in the draft, and the rich get richer again with this pick. Justin, do you like Lewis Wolfork out of Wisconsin?
I do. He was actually one of the guys that I had looked at as well. I didn't want to reach just quite right away, but looking at this, obviously, it may not even be a reach. This guy looks like a beast.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to slide along here because we have only a few picks left. We're at number 29, and it is going to be the San Francisco 49ers. This is one of the most interesting teams in the XCFL. Went from, worst to top of the NFC, made it all the way to the NFC Championship game. That's where they're drafting here at 29. Last year, we all know they brought in the quarterback, Alan Navarre, with the 4th overall pick. No big additions to really talk about, but it's a very young team. They lost Marquise Wilson. They still have Zay Jones as wide receiver. Main team need is offensive line. We know it's a weak tight end class, so we're not going to see a tight end here. And then a strong safety. It's another weak safety class as well. So I'm thinking offensive line is the pick. Justin, do you think it's a good idea to go offensive line to protect your main investment, Alan Navarre?
I do, but I also think that there is one strong safety that someone could potentially – it would be a reach for sure. I think he's projected 5th round, but he's actually a pretty solid-looking player overall. I'm looking for his name, and I apologize. I can't find it off the top of my head.
Is it Raphael Barr?
No, it would be I don't know. Oh, it was DeWitt Taylor.
Okay.
So a good run support type guy. But at any rate, probably offensive line is what I think I would expect here.
I think they're taking the pick to the podium, and it is the center, A.J. Ryan out of Oregon. Another pick, the guy's projected 2nd round, and he just, you get your guy at this pick, 21 years old, 6'4", 300 pounds, 33 reps at the bench press. He ran a 5'1", 240, which is up there for the centers. But I think the main thing you're going to look at is that B-plus impact block. Boone, do we like the A.J. Ryan pick out of Oregon for the San Francisco 49ers?
It's hard not to. He's from that awesome Oregon front that's used to that fast pace. He's going to be well conditioned. That's why he did so well in the 40. He deals with the nonstop Chip Kelly-esque play that they left behind after he left. And the guy is just a solid player all around. I can't really see anything wrong with this guy. He can make the blocks. He can make the outside. If you need him to run guard, he can make the pulling guard plays. You just can't really go wrong with this pick. He's a solid player all around, 6'4", 300. You like him to be a little taller, maybe a little heavier, but he can eat more. And when he gets to the pros, that's not an issue.
There you go. Eat more to get to the pros. Absolutely. Well, we got 3 picks left here. We're going to go to number 30, which is the Los Angeles Rams. They just picked the big boy Bowers. I'm going to kind of break down the Rams pick because, Justin, you're busy picking. So we'll go with the Rams. They got Jared Goff. They have Todd Gurley. I think I need to see someone on the outside. You have Robert Woods. You have a couple other young receivers, but I think you need to have some type of playmaker for Jared Goff when healthy to throw the football to. The more weapons, the better. I don't think you can go wrong. I think the Rams pick is coming up shortly here. But they did. Okay, they went wide receiver. They went with Cameron Porton from Miami. So we got a stretch of Miami guys going here. 23 years old, 6'2", 224. You see the A- spec catch. You see the B+ catch in traffic, which is really, to me, the 2 most important things as wide receiver, especially when they don't have that blazing speed. As you can see, he has the 4.55 speed. Justin, your pick, you break down for us, sir.
Yeah, so he wasn't a blazer, 86 speed, but 88 acceleration.
There you go.
But he's 90 spec catch, an 87 catch in traffic, and an 84 catch. So I actually was really happy with this pick.
Absolutely. 6'2", 224. He's a solid guy. That's a great pick to pair with, your boy Spellman and Robert Woods in that offense. All right, we'll slide along here. We got 2 picks to go in this marathon we call our draft. And it is going to be the Oakland Raiders, the runners-up, and it is going to be Coach Doss on the clock. So the Raiders, very active this offseason, trying to get back another pick in the first round. I know he had outside linebacker on his need or his team need here. He went out and added Rashard Morris, the running back from the Bills, because in the Super Bowl, his stud running back Darius Jackson got hurt with a torn MCL, and he is out for the next 29 weeks. So that will go into this upcoming season. So, you know, Doss had to make a move. He got his running back. He traded away Alden Smith. He let Rodney Hudson test free agency, and he got paid in free agency, I think, by the Seahawks. Somebody paid him. But another team, they're very talented everywhere. He's talked about linebacker. Justin, where are we seeing Doss go here at the 31st pick in the draft?
He's got a lot of linebacker needs right now. I mean, both outside and inside linebackers. So yeah. I think that has to be, if that truly is your 1 and 2 needs, that has to be where you go with this. There are still 3 or 4 really good, solid picks that are to be had in that linebacker area. So
when the pick is on the way, the pick is in, okay, and they went with defensive tackle Ben Massaquoi out of Florida State. This guy is a bowling ball, 6'1", 304 pounds, 37 reps at the bench press, and then he busts out a 4.8 740 at the combine. This guy for me is the number 2 defensive tackle in the draft, right behind Bauer. The Rams took, but you see the B block shed. You see the pursuit is already a B. But I mean, let's talk about Boone, 6'1", 304 pounds, and a 4.8 740. This guy's faster than some of the receivers.
He's a little meatball. You watch him run around. You know, he takes.
He's a big meatball.
He takes up 2 to 3 people. You know, you can't really just block him because he's little. He's got low center of gravity. He's like an anomaly. You're not used to it. He kind of like just is one person that you're not accounting for, and he just shows up and he balls. He did it all year at Florida State. The biggest problem for the Raiders this year was stopping the run. They allowed 100 yards per game this year, and that's why they went D-tackle. He's there to plug up the gap and make sure that no one comes up the middle, so the DNs can only focus on the outside runs. That's all you got to do, just contain the edge, and you have a solid defense. So it's a smart play for him, to be honest.
Absolutely. This guy, Ben Massaquoi, he just looks like he should be Oakland Raiders. Does with this guy. And we are moving on to the last pick of the first round, and it is the Dallas Cowboys, their second pick of the first round. They went and took Chris Schobel, the outside linebacker, at number 5. I know I talked to the Cowboys owner a lot, and he wants a big, tall wide receiver to fill Dez Bryant's void. He had Brian Switzer on the block. He's still got Terrence Williams. You know, I think we had to see him go wide receiver. It's such a deep wide receiver class. There's still a lot of talent there. Is there anybody that sticks out that you might think the Cowboys will grab here, Justin?
You know, honestly, as I look, I keep going back to wide receiver. There's 4 different wide receivers that I have that should have been drafted earlier in the first round that are still on the board. I think you have to go wide receiver here.
And I think the pick is on the way, and the pick is in, and it is going to be Ray Blair out of Penn State. So they did go with their big receiver, 6'4", 239 pounds, 21 years old, which the age is just so important in Madden. You know, it's so cheap to upgrade these guys. A- spec catch, B+ catch in traffic, B at catching. So the intangibles are there. He really didn't impress at the combine with a slow 40, a slow 3-cone drill, a slow 20-yard shuttle. Boone, do you like the Ray Blair pick here?
I do. It's really about big plays, though. That's what this is about. Fourth quarter, you need a touchdown, toss it up, he'll go get it. That's what he's good at. That's what he's there for. The man made highlight catch after highlight catch how many times? One of Randy Moss's favorite players. He's not the fastest. Nah, he doesn't have to be the fastest. But he can go up and get it. That's the thing. He can go up and get it. He reminds you a lot of Vincent Jackson, more of like a Plaxico Burress. Maybe not a burner, but one of those guys who runs his routes well. He makes the catches. He holds on to the football. So you can't really go wrong with him.
Absolutely. Great pick for the Dallas Cowboys. They get their playmaker to replace Dez, pair with some of their other younger receivers. They took B.J. Booth last year, who's a 90-7-something speed guy. But that rounds out our first round, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I just want to give a quick shout out here to Brian, our producer. He killed it. You know, and getting all this stuff up on the screen is not easy. All we have to do is talk about what's on our screen. We're not doing anything tough here. But with that being said, everyone happy drafting. Enjoy Madden XCFL season 13, and let's hope to see some of these studs on the field. With that being said, for Justin Holland, for Coach Boone himself, I'm Nick Larson, and we are out of here. Thank you for tuning in.